very often startups forget that your financing is great, but the one element they forget is working capital. And I think we forgot that once. And that was the only time we made that mistake, where we calculated the amount of capital we needed. We raised exactly that amount of capital. And we actually weren't burning any money at all. We were profitable. And we still found ourselves in a situation where we said, there's no money in the bank. And we said, why is there no money in the bank? And then we said, hang on, our working capital cycle's off. We are paying in 30 days and receiving in 60, and that's why we don't have any money in the bank. It was a big shock to us, and it seems trivial and small right now, looking back, because now we've obviously improved at managing it. But I've met many startups along the way who simply forget to factor in how much money they need to keep the lights on. And I think that was our second big learning. Every time we raise capital, factor in working capital, factor in more working capital than you think you need, and then sort of raise capital or spend capital accordingly.
It was great to listen to Sahil Barua from Delivery talk about the importance of working capital management. They were in this spot when they realized that their liquid funds were falling fast and they required immediate short-term working capital to even sustain the business. Working capital is something that is essential for entrepreneurs to have to make sure that they can cover their daily expenditure. In this session, we will understand the concept of working capital along with the aspects of financing and managing working capital. We will also look at the operating cycle concept and vendor management and contracts in order to get a deeper understanding of the dynamics of working capital management. So let us start by understanding what working capital means.
Fixed assets provide the infrastructure for a business. The working capital provides funds for its day-to-day operations like payment of employee costs, procurement of services, etc. Without working capital, infrastructure will remain idle. Hence, in a way, working capital provides a lifeline to its fixed assets. In a manufacturing concern, there is a time lag between the time raw materials is procured till the time the money is realized on the sale of finished products to the customers. Working capital provides the funds during this time lag. In accounting terms, working capital is the amount locked up at a given time in the form of inventories, receivables or debtors, and money kept in bank or cash box. And if you remember, these items constitute current assets in the balance sheet. Working capital that considers only the current assets is called gross working capital. Unlike fixed assets, which are meant for the use of the business, current assets are meant for sale or conversion. Current assets keep fluctuating during the year and hence the name current assets. And for this reason, working capital is also called fluctuating capital. Fluctuating working capital can be due to the following reasons. 1. Seasonal. Due to seasonal changes, level of business activities is higher than normal during some months of the year, and therefore additional working capital will be required along with permanent working capital. It is so because during peak season, demand rises and more stock is to be maintained to meet the demand. The other one is during special occasions. Additional doses of working capital may be required to face cutthroat competition in the market or other contingencies like strike, lockout, theft, etc. For example, in sugar industry, the raw materials, that is stock of sugarcane, will be very high just after harvesting season, but keeps reducing throughout the production cycle till the next harvest season. Similarly, in the consumer goods industry, the finished goods, that is the stock, will gradually increase during the off season due to decrease in sales. It will reach the peak at the beginning of the festival season and will drastically reduce at the end of the festival season. The need for working capital fluctuates from time to time. However, to carry on day-to-day operations of the business without any obstacle, a certain minimum level of raw materials, work in progress, finished goods and cash must be maintained on a continuous basis. The amount needed to maintain current assets on this minimum level is called permanent or regular working capital. The working capital requirement of a business is closely related to the nature of business, the size of business and complexity of the production process or cycle. A service firm such as electricity utility or transport corporation with short operating cycle and sales predominantly on cash basis has a modest working capital as compared to machine tool manufacturing business that has a longer operating cycle and sells largely on credit to customers. Similarly, a large company with high investment in fixed assets will require higher quantum of working capital as compared to a smaller company belonging to the same industry. A business in a highly seasonal industry such as air conditioning or manufacturing of firecrackers will have a high working capital buildup for peak season sales. Business fluctuations may be in the direction of boom and depression. During boom period, the firm will have to operate at full capacity to meet the increased demand, which in turn leads to increase in the level of inventories and book debts. The depression phase of business fluctuations has exactly an opposite effect on the level of the working capital requirement. If a firm can get easy bank facility or loan, in the case of need, it will operate with less working capital. On the other hand, if such loan facility is not available, it will have to keep large amount of working capital. Moreover, full amount of cash profit is not available for working capital purpose. Taxes have to be paid out of the profits. Higher the amount of taxes, less will be the profits available for working capital. Hence, the working capital of the business should correspond to the size of the business and the peculiarity of the industry to which the business belongs. Adequacy of working capital is an important criteria to be understood and met. Paucity of working capital not only impairs the firm's profitability but also results in production interruptions and inefficiencies and sales disruptions. It may also be deterrent for exploiting favorable business conditions. For example, low level of finished goods inventory at the start of the peak season might result in losing market share to competitors. Similarly, as current assets and idle funds do not earn any income and in fact represent block funds, excessive working capital is a sign of inefficiency and lower profitability.